So this is a follow-up video to last night's rant. I did a lot of screaming, but I didn't do a lot of explaining why I felt the way that I did. But I am going to explain why I think Brock Lesnar should have won the match last night. And I'll do my best not to raise my voice or scream. So, last night was an absolute joke. It was pathetic, but it was typical WWE booking. Instead of being logical, they decided to go the unpredictable route. I have no idea why, but it's just how they've booked. And I think even the executives have said that that's the way they wanted to do it. Instead of doing they didn't say we want to do things logically. We don't want to do things logically. They didn't exactly say that, but they did say they wanted to do things unpredictably. I'm sure that comes from Vince and the board of directors and blah, blah, blah. You know, all those guys. But I get that. Unpredictability can be exciting. But if it can be unpredictable and a good thing, like Samoa Joe's victory at NXT TakeOver Toronto, which I'll get to NXT here in a moment, because I have something to say about that too. Or at least that does have something to do with talking about this whole thing. But Brock Lesnar, okay, he's built ever since he returned in 2012. He has been built as this monster. He has not lost cleanly to anybody. He lost to John Cena in an Extreme Rules match, and he lost to The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. That's it. Everybody else, including Cena, Triple H, and The Undertaker, he had beaten them all clean on one-on-one matchups. Everybody who was thrown at him, he defeated in a one-on-one match. And then, he's this monster, and he was supposed to stay as this monster. And all of a sudden, he gets beat in a minute and a half by a 50-year-old man who hasn't been in the ring for 12 years. It was absolutely the worst decision that they've made all year. And I stand by that. Here's why. Because Brock Lesnar should have won this match. Because he could have stayed in the reputation to kept the reputation of being the monster that he is. And then eventually, and this is where NXT comes in, like I explained earlier, eventually somebody probably from NXT would come up and beat him cleanly, and they become this huge star. Eventually, probably getting a world title shot and winning the world title and holding it for a while. But WWE couldn't do that. They aren't patient. And I would say it's ironic because they wait to the day of the pay-per-view to, call the results or whatever, to give the guys the results or tell them what they're going to do. But they're not. That's not being patient and waiting for the pay-per-view. That's being lazy and doing last minute. There's a difference between being patient and being lazy. But anyway, somebody could have come up from NXT and beaten Brock Lesnar. My two candidates, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who has said this, my two, it's either Samoa Joe or Shinsuke Nakamura. And I know that Joe is more believable than Nakamura is because of body types, if you will. But Lesnar and Nakamura actually have a history together. They actually have fought each other in NJPW a decade ago. It actually was back in 2006. It was only a 9-minute match, but it was a good 9-minute match. And I'm sure when Nakamura makes it to the main roster, he could eventually challenge Brock Lesnar to a one-on-one match and say at WrestleMania and beaten him cleanly. Joe could have done the same thing. One of those guys could have done it and been a huge star, but WWE's not patient. They're lazy, illogical writing. Very illogical writing. Just had Goldberg win. Now I get it. Goldberg was hurt. I didn't expect them to have a long match because of that. And I'm guessing that either it was one of two things. Either Goldberg's going, or either Goldberg, they wanted to send him off properly, or he's going to have another run in the WWE. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. All I know is I think Lesnar should have won. It shouldn't have even mattered. I mean, Goldberg should have just shown up. They could have a short match. Lesnar should have won. Goldberg still would have had his send off. Absolutely pathetic on WWE's behalf. And not just does this pretty much ruin Brock Lesnar's career unless he's leaving, but this also shuts on the legacy of The Undertaker. And let me explain why. Brock Lesnar took the streak away from The Undertaker. He took the streak away. And because he did this, Brock Lesnar was even more of a monster. And he carried being the one and what is it, 23 and 1? It was 21 and 1 at the time, but being the one guy who beat The Undertaker. And whatever The Undertaker's record was, whatever 20 something, 22, 23, I think it's 23 and 1 at the moment. He was the one guy, and he carried that legacy of The Undertaker streak. So not just did this shit on the fact that Brock Lesnar came out as this monster, but this pretty much ruined the legacy of The Undertaker. You just, or didn't ruin it, I should say. It shit on it. Everything that The Undertaker worked for him. And ironically, at the event that The Undertaker debuted at 26 years ago, 26 years, Undertaker had this. You should have never taken the streak away from him. Absolutely illogical booking on their behalf. I guarantee if Triple H would have been booking the show, you look at NXT and you look at the main roster, Triple H would have been booking the show, things would have been a lot different. The outcome would have been different. Because Triple H knows how to book logically. But anyway, that's my explanation. That's why I think Brock Lesnar should have won. And honestly, I feel bad for Lesnar, but I feel worse for The Undertaker. Because there's no telling. No, maybe he's okay with this because he is the one that gave the streak to Lesnar. But if I were him, I wouldn't be. I'd be pissed off and talking to Vince about this. Vince is an idiot. He is a senile fool. Triple H, I can't wait for the day that Triple H takes over the WWE. So to anybody, to Lesnar and to Undertaker, and who I doubt will see this, I'm still sorry that WWE did this to both of you. I guess we'll just see where it goes from here. I just want this shit year to be over with and start fresh going into the Royal Rumble because I love the Royal Rumble. I love the match itself, but usually it's a good pay per view. They have other good matches, but I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble. At this point, I just want 2016 to be over. I'm ready for 2017. I'm ready for the Royal Rumble, and I'm ready for the build towards WrestleMania, if you even want to say that. SmackDown will do it. Raw won't. But yeah, Triple H needs to take over the company. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Again, sorry to Brock Lesnar. Sorry to The Undertaker. I'm done. But I felt like I needed to explain. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Later.